Have you ever noticed that the foods you used to enjoy without a second thought now seem to sit a little heavier? Or perhaps leave you feeling sluggish and less vibrant than you'd like? It's a common experience for many of us as we move past our mid-60s. Our bodies, incredible as they are, begin to change, and what nourished us in our younger years might not be serving us quite so well anymore. The truth is, some of the very staples we grew up with, the comforting meats that filled our dinner plates, might now be slowly undermining our health, leading to issues like heart problems, inflammation, and even making us feel tired when we should be full of life. It's a painful reality to face, but the good news is, armed with a little knowledge, we can make simple shifts that bring about profound positive changes. In this video, we're going to uncover 4 specific types of meat that, after the age of 65, you might want to reconsider making a regular part of your diet. These aren't about deprivation, but about making smarter choices for a longer, healthier, and more energetic life. Stick with me, because watching to the end will reveal something about your plate that might truly surprise you. Let's dive right into the first type of meat that many of us grew up loving, but which can become a significant health burden as we age: processed meats. Think about those breakfast sausages, crispy bacon, the slices of deli ham or turkey tucked into sandwiches, and even hot dogs or certain canned meats. They're convenient. They're often flavorful, but they come with a hidden cost for our health, especially after 65. The primary concern with processed meats lies in their preparation and preservation methods. To extend their shelf life and enhance their taste, manufacturers often load them with high amounts of sodium, nitrates, and nitrites. While these compounds help keep the meat from spoiling, they can wreak havoc on our bodies over time. For example, the excessive sodium content in just a few slices of bacon or a single hot dog can contribute significantly to high blood pressure, also known as hypertension. This condition is a major risk factor for heart disease and stroke, and its effects become more pronounced and dangerous as our cardiovascular system naturally ages. Imagine your heart having to pump harder and harder against resistance every single day. That's what high blood pressure does. And processed meats are often a silent culprit. But it's not just the sodium, nitrates, and nitrites. When they enter our bodies and interact with certain compounds, can form something called nitrosamines. These are potent carcinogens, substances known to cause cancer. Research has strongly linked regular consumption of processed meats to an increased risk of colorectal cancer, as well as other forms of cancer. It's a sobering thought that something so common could carry such a risk. Beyond cancer, the high saturated fat content often found in these meats contributes to elevated cholesterol levels, clogging arteries and further straining the heart. And let's not forget the advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, which are harmful compounds formed when meat is cooked at high temperatures or processed. These AGEs can accumulate in our bodies, leading to inflammation and oxidative stress, which accelerate aging and contribute to chronic diseases like diabetes and kidney issues. So, what can you do? It's not about giving up flavor or convenience entirely, but about making smarter swaps. Instead of starting your day with processed sausage or bacon, consider leaner, unprocessed protein sources like eggs, plain Greek yogurt, or a handful of nuts for sandwiches. Opt for freshly roasted chicken breast, sliced lean beef from the butcher, or even plant-based alternatives like hummus and avocado. If you're craving something warm and savory, a homemade chicken or turkey patty made from ground, lean meat can be a delicious and much healthier option. Even a simple lentil soup or a bean salad can offer a satisfying and protein-rich meal without the hidden dangers. Making this shift away from processed meats is one of the most powerful steps you can take to protect your heart, reduce your cancer risk, and keep your body feeling more vibrant and less burdened as you gracefully age. Now that we've discussed the hidden dangers of processed meats, let's consider another common culprit that might be quietly impacting your health. Moving on from processed convenience, let's talk about another common element in our diets that, while not inherently bad, can become problematic after 65 when consumed frequently or in large quantities: fatty, conventionally raised red meats, We're talking about those heavily marbled steaks, juicy burgers, or even some cuts of lamb or pork that have a significant amount of visible fat. While red meat can be a good source of iron and protein, the issue arises when we choose cuts high in saturated fat, especially from animals raised in conventional farming operations. The saturated fat content in these meats can directly impact our cardiovascular health. As we age, our arteries naturally become a bit less flexible, and our bodies are less efficient at clearing out excess cholesterol. Regularly consuming high amounts of saturated fat contributes to an increase in LDL cholesterol, often called bad cholesterol. This type of cholesterol can build up in our arteries, forming plaque that narrows the blood vessels and restricts blood flow, leading to conditions like atherosclerosis, heart attacks, and strokes. It's like a slow, silent plumbing problem in your body. And the more saturated fat you consume, the more you contribute to the buildup. Beyond the fat, the way conventionally raised animals are fed can also play a role. Many are fed diets high in grains like corn and soy, which can result in a higher omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acid ratio in the meat. While both are essential, an imbalance with too much omega-6 and not enough omega-3 can promote inflammation in the body. Chronic inflammation is a root cause of many age-related diseases, from arthritis and joint pain to cognitive decline and even certain cancers. Think about how your body feels after a heavy, fatty meal. Sometimes it's just a feeling of fullness, but for many, it can trigger a subtle inflammatory response that contributes to overall discomfort and less than optimal health. So, what's the actionable advice here? It's not about eliminating red meat entirely if you enjoy it, but rather about being more mindful of your choices and consumption. First, prioritize leaner cuts. Look for words like loin or round when buying beef, and tenderloin or sirloin for pork. These cuts have less visible fat. Secondly, consider how often you consume red meat. Instead of having it several times a week, try to limit it to once or twice, and focus on smaller portions. A serving size of meat should be about the size of a deck of cards, not a whole plate. When you do opt for red meat, explore higher quality options like grass-fed or pasture-raised varieties. These typically have a more favorable omega-3 to omega-6 ratio and often contain more beneficial nutrients like conjugated linoleic acid, or CLA. While they might be a bit pricier, think of it as an investment in your long-term health. Lastly, balance your plate. If you have a leaner cut of red meat, make sure the rest of your meal is packed with vibrant vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats from sources like avocado or olive oil. This approach helps to mitigate some of the potential downsides and provides your body with a wider array of essential nutrients. By making these thoughtful adjustments, you can still enjoy red meat without it becoming a detriment to your heart health and overall well-being as you gracefully age. Now that we've considered the nuances of red meat, let's turn our attention to another preparation method that can transform even healthy meats into something far less beneficial. Following on from the concerns with processed and fatty red meats, let's turn our attention to the preparation method that can unfortunately transform almost any meat into a less than ideal choice, particularly after 65 deep-fried meats. Think about that crispy fried chicken, breaded and deep-fried fish and chips, or even those golden brown schnitzels. While undeniably delicious and comforting for many, the way these meats are cooked introduces several significant health risks that accumulate over time. When meat is submerged in hot oil, especially at very high temperatures, it absorbs a tremendous amount of fat, and often, the oils used in deep frying are not the healthiest options, such as vegetable oils high in omega-6 fatty acids, or partially hydrogenated oils that contain trans fats. Trans fats are notorious for increasing LDL, that bad cholesterol, while simultaneously lowering HDL, the good cholesterol. This double whammy is particularly dangerous for our cardiovascular system, accelerating the buildup of plaque in arteries and significantly increasing the risk of heart disease and stroke. As our bodies age, our arteries become less resilient, making them even more susceptible to the damage caused by these unhealthy fats. But it's not just the fat. The high heat involved in deep frying also creates harmful compounds. We briefly touched upon advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, earlier, and they are particularly abundant in deep-fried foods. When proteins and fats are cooked at high temperatures, they react with sugars to form these AGEs. Accumulation of AGEs in the body promotes oxidative stress and chronic inflammation, which are key drivers of aging and a whole host of chronic diseases, including diabetes, kidney disease, Alzheimer's, and even certain cancers. Imagine your cells constantly being under attack from these inflammatory compounds. It takes a toll on every system in your body. Furthermore, the breading often used for deep-fried meats adds extra carbohydrates and calories, which, when combined with the high fat content, can contribute to weight gain. Carrying excess weight puts additional strain on joints, organs, and the cardiovascular system, exacerbating many age-related health challenges. So, how can you still enjoy the flavors and textures you love without the hidden health risks? The solution lies in how you prepare your food. Instead of deep frying, explore healthier cooking methods. Baking or air frying can give you that desired crispiness without the excessive oil. For example, oven-baked chicken tenders or fish fillets, lightly coated with whole grain breadcrumbs and herbs, can be incredibly satisfying. Grilling or broiling are excellent alternatives for cuts like chicken breast or fish, as long as you avoid excessive charring, which we'll touch on shortly. Even pan-searing with a minimal amount of healthy oil, like olive oil or avocado oil, can provide a delicious crust without deep frying. Think about making homemade versions of your favorites. You have control over the type and amount of oil, and you can load up on seasonings instead of relying on heavy breading. By making this shift away from deep frying, you're not just reducing your intake of harmful fats and AGEs, you're actively supporting your heart health, reducing inflammation, and giving your body a better chance to thrive and feel energetic. It's a simple change in the kitchen that can lead to significant improvements in how you feel day to day. Now, let's move on to the final meat-related concern that many people overlook, but which carries a surprising risk. Now for the fourth and final meat concern we need to address. And it's one that often catches people by surprise because it's not about the type of meat itself, but rather how it's cooked meats that are heavily charred or cooked to a very well-done state. Think about that steak with a thick, blackened crust from the grill, or poultry that's been left on the barbecue a little too long until parts of it are dark and crispy. While many of us enjoy that intense flavor and texture, it comes at a significant health cost, especially as we get older. When muscle meat, be it beef, pork, chicken, or fish, is cooked at very high temperatures, particularly over an open flame, two types of harmful compounds can form: heterocyclic amines, HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs. HCAs form when amino acids, sugars, and creatine in meat react at high temperatures. PAHs, on the other hand, form when fat and juices from the meat drip onto the hot surface, causing flames and smoke, and then these smoke particles adhere to the surface of the meat. Both HCAs and PAHs have been identified as mutagens, meaning they can cause changes in DNA that may increase the risk of cancer. Numerous studies have linked high consumption of well-done, grilled, or pan-fried meats to an increased risk of various cancers, including colorectal, pancreatic, and prostate cancer. As we age, our body's natural repair mechanisms might not be as efficient at dealing with DNA damage, making us potentially more vulnerable to the effects of these carcinogenic compounds. It's a subtle but insidious risk, because it's often tied to cooking methods we associate with enjoyable outdoor gatherings or quick meals. We might not even realize we're creating these harmful substances right in our own kitchens or backyards. The good news is that preventing the formation of HCAs and PAHs doesn't mean giving up your beloved grilled or pan-seared meats entirely. It's about making smarter adjustments to your cooking practices. First, aim for medium rare to medium doneness, rather than very well done, for steaks and burgers. This reduces the time the meat spends at high temperatures. Second, frequently flip your meat while grilling or pan-searing. This helps to cook it more evenly and prevents any one side from becoming excessively charred. Think about marinating your meat before cooking. Marinades containing acids like vinegar or lemon juice, or antioxidants from herbs and spices like rosemary and thyme, have been shown to significantly reduce HCA formation. Even a simple garlic and herb marinade can make a big difference. Another tip is to pre-cook meat in the oven or microwave for a few minutes before putting it on the grill or in a hot pan. This reduces the amount of time it needs to be exposed to high heat for cooking through, thereby minimizing the formation of harmful compounds. And finally, consider trimming off any visibly charred portions of meat before eating. While it might be your favorite crispy bit, it's also where many of the dangerous compounds accumulate. So, to summarize what we've talked about today, it's really about making informed choices to support your body as it continues its amazing journey past 65. We've explored why processed meats, with their high sodium, nitrates, and saturated fats, pose risks to your heart and increase cancer risk. We discussed how fatty, conventionally raised red meats can contribute to unhealthy cholesterol levels and inflammation, and why choosing leaner cuts or grass-fed options and moderating your portions can make a world of difference. We then looked at how deep frying meats introduces harmful trans fats and ages, promoting inflammation and cardiovascular disease, and how simply shifting to baking, air frying, or light pan searing can protect your health. And finally, we just talked about the hidden dangers of heavily charred or well-done meats, and how simple adjustments to your cooking methods like marinating, frequent flipping, or pre-cooking can drastically reduce the formation of cancer-causing compounds. Remember, this isn't about sacrificing enjoyment or feeling deprived. It's about empowerment and understanding. Small, consistent changes in your eating habits can lead to monumental improvements in your energy levels, your heart health, your overall vitality, and your long-term well-being. Think of it as investing in your future self, ensuring you have the energy and health to enjoy every moment. Whether it's playing with grandchildren, pursuing new hobbies, or simply savoring each day, your body is incredibly resilient and responsive, and giving it the right fuel can truly unlock a new chapter of health and happiness. We all want to feel our best, and sometimes, the biggest impact comes from knowing what to gently steer away from, rather than what new thing to add. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Have you already started cutting back on any of these meats? And if so, what changes have you noticed? Share your insights in the comments below. Your experiences could be incredibly helpful to someone else. If you found this video helpful and insightful, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss out on more practical advice and empowering tips to help you live your best life at every age. You deserve to thrive. And these small shifts truly can make a big difference.